I've been contemplating judgment, my judgments, and I'm here to share some thoughts with you. For this discussion, I'll be sharing from the perspective that judgments are negative, since you can judge positively. There was a time when I was not even aware that I was judging. My next iteration came when I realized I was, in fact, judging and a lot. I pretty much judged all day long, and from the place that my judging had something to do with fixing the behaviors that I was judging in others, or healing my own wounds by identifying others' faults. Both perspectives were falsehoods. I would judge your fitness, how smart you were or weren't, how smart I am or am not as compared to others, how I was not as good as you, how I was better than you. This is a small list of my judgments. Eventually, I reasoned that my judging did not change anything. And when people felt judged, it did not feel good. When I judged myself, that became me making myself not feel good. I wanted to stop my judging, yet that seemed impossible. Could I be judgment free of myself and others? The answer was no. It was a bit of a disheartening thought to think I would always judge. I heard people say, "Oh, you are just making an observation. That's not a judgment." Another one was, "That's an assessment." At the end of the day, both were judgment sewage covered in whipped cream. I heard someone in a coach training say, "Since we're all connected energetically, when we judge others, we are judging ourselves." From a quantum physics perspective, that made sense. This was about 2018. Over the past 4 or 5 years, I have been fortunate to become part of some amazing communities of people. I began interacting with people that were not judging. Instead, they were loving. I now felt being judgment free as a possibility. I started believing I could become judgment free, or at least dramatically cut back on my judgments. Having these thoughts was uplifting. I've heard people I respect say it's impossible to love someone or help someone when you're judging them. That one hit home. I began to understand the impact my judgments were having on myself and others. How could I support anyone if I was judging them? And I began to realize that the judgments I was making were judgments of myself being projected onto others. Recently, in a coaching session, a client recognized that he could not help a team member if he was judging the person. What a moment for him and I. There's another important component to becoming judgment free, and that is forgiveness. I say that because if I've judged myself, I must forgive myself to be able to grow. Getting the impacts of a judgment and cleaning it up if necessary is part of the forgiveness process. I like structuring things, creating systems and processes to establish meaning and make sense of it all. It's how I'm built. So I created a new word, a new meaning that I call helpment. When I find myself judging, it's a trigger to transform the judgment to a helpment, to stop judging and start helping. And it is key to be self aware of when I am judging. I'm getting better at that. So here's where I am today. Recognize my judgments. Forgive myself for having judged. Clean up the mess if I made one. Seek ways to help those I've judged and to love those I've judged. Being on this path, I've noticed I'm judging less and helping more. My writing this blog and recording this video is to share something I've learned. I'm not suggesting you do any of this or think like me. If there is a suggestion here, it's to do your own work and process the thoughts you have on judgment. Thank you for watching this video to its end.